So Dave, looking a bit more into the future, what can you be getting on with over the next couple of months?
Oh, it's hard to say this actually, but the autumn months, we're talking about autumn already. It's as though the year's gone so quickly. Autumn months, they're the best time for what people would call earthworks, digging, making raised beds, improving soil, which is what we were talking about a minute or so ago. Harvesting, that needs to carry on as well, because not everything arrives in or comes to fruition in June and July. There is stuff which you can actually pick much later. Tender crops need to be gathered, of course, because it's the beginning of the frost season. You're never quite sure when frost is actually going to bite. You can enjoy the last of your fresh beans, hopefully, unless, of course, you've picked them right out. I've already picked mine because they're an early variety. Ripen the last of the tomatoes, and don't forget the grandchildren or the children, of course, because it's pumpkin time. It's starting to come. You know, feed the pumpkin up as well. Get it as big as possible. Don't forget, of course, once you've cut the face, hollow it out, eat it. Pumpkin soup, pumpkin pie, superb. I kid you not. Main crop potatoes, they're ready for lifting and storing over the month of September, as are the last of the onions as well. Some of the onions will carry on and ripening up. General maintenance, I think what you can say is you need to clear the autumn debris and the falling leaves. Slow down on the feeding, you don't need that so much, and you don't want plants outside to put out soft material which they would have been feeding on over the summer months, simply because the frost will get at them. Start a new compost heap, and I think we'll be talking about that a little bit later, won't we, actually? And start collecting leaves for leaf mould as well. It's very good for mulching and breaking up the soil and providing air in it. If you actually sometimes spread it, those worms, when they do come back, by the way, it's amazing how the worms will actually hold a leaf and take it back down into the soil. Nobody really knows why they do it, or rather how they do it. They don't seem to eat it, but obviously they're aerating the soil, and taking the leaf down it helps greatly to improve the soil. Hoe, weed, continue to hoe and weed, and provide water for the birds. It's very important now, of course, and happens, but that's something else we can probably be talking about a little later. Before the advent of the big seed companies, for instance, people collected their own seed. It's quite simple. Harvest main crop potatoes, as I say, and keep doing those kinds of things. So it's digging. There's a bit of work to do, actually. Troubleshooting or pests should be much less of a problem, but clear out the debris, simply because they'll be hiding away, ready to pounce next year. So it's worth doing it now. The maintenance now is very, very important. If you have apple trees or fruit trees, then obviously you're going to need to protect them. Ripening apples, and you need to protect ripening apples and pears from birds as well as wasps as well. Wasps in September get pretty belligerent. Woe betide anybody who sticks their hand into a tree and suddenly to discover a wasp nest. On one of our sites recently, we had to have a wasp nest removed because it was in a very vulnerable position, or people were in a vulnerable position. It was a communal plum tree that we have on one of our sites. Inevitably, you can't see the nest, and inevitably wasps are very, very protective, not only of their nest, but also of the ripening plums. I rest my case where that's concerned. So you can see it's a very, very busy time.
It sounds it.
In going on into October, you're going to see the temperatures sort of falling. So you really are going to get frosty nights. So they're likely to be there in places. Perhaps not so much on the island, but you need to be aware of it, obviously. So very much general maintenance. Again, clear the garden of debris. It's a good month to make that big compost heap. Again, something we'll talk about a bit later. And keep on weeding and hoeing, because weeds will still be tending to grow. Rake up the falling leaves. Feed the birds. Strangely, wildlife in town allotments and in parks and gardens and churchyards is seeing a worrying decline. Urban-wise, they're coming on, so people are becoming much more aware of feeding birds. So, lots to do. Clear stuff away, keep it clean, lots of maintenance.
With Dave.